battles are mine.
Okay, so apparently MainManSWE's made a whole hour-long video about how to play Dragunov and how to defeat Dragunov. So I thought, why not go over this video and see what his take is on Tekken 8's Dragunov and what he thinks about how Dragunov should be played. I know he has released a proper guide, and I had planned to react to that, but I've been so busy with other stuff that I haven't even gotten the chance to actually watch it. So maybe eventually I will go over the 8-minute guide, but for now, since he's released this hour-long video, I thought let's just see what he has to say. If this is clearly ranked matches from what I can see scrubbing through the whole video, so I'm not going to react to everything, but I'm guessing that there is he's going to talk about different aspects of the character. So I'll just cut through those sections where he's talking about Dragunov and his game plan, or how he should be played, or how he should be countered, and I'll just give my 2 cents on it. I'll be rambling quite a bit, so if that's not something you like, maybe let me know, and next time I'll ramble a little less maybe. But for now, I'm just going to continue, and I'm really excited because MainMan really seems to like Dragunov, not just in Tekken 8, not because Dragunov has been buffed, but he's always liked Dragunov even in Tekken 7. He's complained quite a bit about Dragunov being in the state that he was when Tekken 7 ended. It's a really unfortunate uh, way to book and the character in Tekken 7. But the thing that worries me is that Dragunov, when Tekken 7 released, Dragunov was just as buff, if not even more buff, as he was in Tekken, as he is currently in Tekken 8. So he might get nerfed, but there are nuances there. I don't think that the nature of his buffs back then were the same as they are now, and the buffs he has now are don't require tuning down. But that's a topic for a separate video, maybe sometime, where I'll discuss why I don't really think that he needs to be toned down that much. If he needs some damage reduction, that's fine. But for the most part, I think Dragunov is finally a complete character. Let's see what MainMan has to say, and let's talk about different things as he brings them up.
What's up, guys? MainManSWE's here. Yeah, that's my intro. Hoping you're all doing awesome as always.
We are.
I'm gonna play some Dragunov ranked. Dragunov is a ton of fun in this game, and he's actually the only character I'm like, I don't even want to do a customization. Because I like his OG drip here. I think he's one of the best redesigns.
His base costume is so good.
Like,
base
don't get me wrong,
skin
everyone has a huge
amazing.
glow up in this game. But with Kazi, I mean, I did change some of the colors. I changed some of Devil Jin, but here I'm just like, I just want this to stay.
Dragunov's primary is just good enough, right? You can really play with this character as it is. There's no need to customize. I haven't customized this character so far. I haven't found any need to, because the primary is so good. Even the secondaries are really good in my opinion. I really like them. Not close to what his primary is, but I think they've absolutely nailed the character with this redesign for sure.
The way it is. It's so good. So I'm gonna play some Dragunov. Dragunov is super fun in
and he picks Hwoarang. I've actually been thinking about, like, because I don't have any secondary character, none of my secondary characters came back in this game. I've been thinking about which character to pick up, and Hwoarang is like one of the top in my list. It's mainly just Hwoarang, Leroy, or Zafina. I'm probably going to secondary one of these three. So if you guys have any preference, because if I do end up picking one of these as my secondary, I'll probably release a bunch of combo videos and guides for these characters as well. So if you have some preferences, anything, just do let me know.
this game. He's been buffed a ton. If you watched my 8-minute guide on him in Tekken 7, he's in a very insulting place, in my opinion. In Tekken 7, he's very
in
weak,
Tekken 7,
but he's also hard to play. And he's very honest, actually, in Tekken 7. He's a very straightforward approach, where everyone kind of...
So, just to give my 2 cents on this, Dragunov isn't necessarily hard to play. He is, technically, he is, because You need his instant while running 2 and his crouch cancel combos in Tekken 7 if you really want to play this character at any decent level. Without those tools, Dragunov is just a shell of a character, and even with those tools, you still need to be really good at playing Tekken because his core game plan was just not finished. He's always felt like he has some good tools, but outside of running to down to Blizzard Hammer back 1+2, there are some tools that work, but for the most part, his game plan just felt unfinished up until Taken 8. This is the first time it actually feels like he's been fleshed out. So his difficulty in previous games, yes, it some of it came from the fact that you needed to do these. I wouldn't even call them like advanced or difficult techniques. I would classify instant while running and crouch cancel combos at the same level as doing Korean backdash. So they're not electric level difficult, but they're not easy to do either, right? If you can master Korean backdashing, you can definitely master these tools as well. So I would say that executional difficulty, yes, there was some, but the main difficulty of this character came from the fact that the underlying mechanics, the game plan of Tekken itself, just didn't complement Dragunov's game plan. It went against what Dragunov was trying to do. It was a very counter hit heavy game. So every single time Dragunov tried to mount any sort of a pressure, he would get counter hit out of it. Like magic fours were everywhere. You would get comboed out of any sort of pressure you would try to mount. So you would have to be so careful with pressing buttons. And for a character whose entire game plan relies on pressing big buttons, that just doesn't work. So even though Dragunov is really all of Dragunov's tool outside of like max highest level of play, all of his tools were pretty easy to execute. There wasn't much of executional difficulty outside of running to and crouch cancels. He was still pretty difficult to play, not because of any tools that he had, but simply because he had to play Tekken in a way that was, you had to be better than your opponent to actually get something out of this character, because the character didn't come with any sort of tools, any sort of gimmicks to give you free wins, sort of, right? So I think that's why he felt much worse than he actually was in the previous game, and that's why he feels much better in this game than he actually is, because the underlying game mechanics complement Dragunov's gameplay so well in Tekken 8 that he feels a lot more oppressive than he actually is.
Knows what you're doing, and you're even super weak, and you have kind of broken. Oh right, we have practice mode here. These are my practice
Oh yeah,
settings.
the first time I
This
saw
caught me
this,
a little bit
this
off guard.
exactly, this surprised me. And the first time I went into ranked and the whole menu popped up,
he has
it
very
was such a
poor
pleasant
hitboxes.
surprise.
This has transitioned, or in terms that his mids hit very high. There's no
His
such thing
mids
as
are
a
practically high.
standardized mid hitbox in Tekken. All the moves
But
have
now we have
completely unique
quad circle for
hitboxes.
4, right?
So you have
Now we have
mids that
sneak
hit
4,
very
which
low,
is
that
really
catch
good.
Xiaoyu in her
It
stances.
isn't for every
And then you
scenario,
have
obviously.
mids like this, where it's
but
almost
it's
like
really
a
good.
high, where anything that has high evasion will go under this mid.
Right, this Dawn for 4, this is practically just a mid check. And so this is a broken hitbox. This is something where you need to land at a mid level. So this isn't something you can replace with a quad circle for 4. But so Dragunov's broken hitboxes are still a problem, but they are not as big of a problem as pronounced of a problem as they were before.
It's
in my
really
opinion.
weird how it works. So he had very broken hitboxes. He had the weakest wall combo in Tekken 7.
Oh,
Certainly
his,
makes
his,
up for
his
it in
wall
this game,
combo
where
was
he suddenly
absolutely
had...
miserable.
Oh, that fucked me up.
His whole combo structure was
He's
extremely
got the
miserable.
best wall combo suddenly. So, like, the developers certainly listen to criticism, right? They were like, no, let's fix this guy. And I'm sure you know he has some really brutal pressure in this game. So this is going to be another coaching series. I'm going to talk a little...
And this sneak pressure, I see all the Dragunovs rely too much on this sneak pressure right now. I don't think this is going to last. I think there are enough holes in there that most high level players will figure it out, and they will always like counter it easily, because you can always step his sneak mix ups, not even mix ups, sneak pressure. You can easily step this sneak pressure. You can, in most cases, jab him out of these, because the crouch cancels are usually negative, almost -5 in most cases. So people will figure out the holes in this pressure and easily counter it. I think that everyone sees this pressure, or everyone, people taking the brunt of this pressure feel like that this pressure is overwhelming and there's nothing they can do, when in reality an hour in lab with this character and you will easily be able to find all the holes in his game plan. So just because this game is really new, I think people are relying too much on this sort of mix-up, which will go away, which will definitely go away. This isn't a reliable flowchart. This is something that you will knowledge check your opponent with. And yes, this will work because there are some mix-ups here and there, but you won't be able to mount your entire pressure based on this sneak pressure. That's not something that's going to happen. I only bring this up because I see a lot of Dragunov players relying on this sneak mix-up, the sneak pressure a bit too much, and that's in my opinion that's going to go away, especially in intermediate to higher levels.
Little bit about how you can play Dragunov before I start my ranked matches here. And also, a lot of people are telling me they kind of hate Dragunov in this game because they fight him all the time. He's very popular now, as he should be. He's really cool. I'm so happy for him in Tekken 8.
Yes.
But a lot of people are very annoyed with these links. It's
Well, that's
basically
such a-
any type of sneak.
That's such a like a bad mentality to have, right? If you're facing a character too much in ranked, then you're easily going to be able to, or eventually going to be able to figure out how to counter that character. So instead of just being pissed at the character, well, it's really easy to take this character to the lab and just figure out all the holes in his game plan in like half an hour maximum. You do need good throw breaks with this character. I think what annoys a lot of people is how good his throw game is on top of the pressure he builds, but he does need some way to cash out on the big frames that he mounts, because Dragunov doesn't have good lows, right? Dragunov has poke lows. He can poke you with those lows and chip out your health, and that's all he gets. Otherwise, the big cash out option he has is his really good throw mix up game, right? Even like in high level play, even though where people are used to breaking throws and they have the reactions or they have the muscle memory to break those sorts of throws, because he has such a complete throw game, he's I think even there it's easier for Dragunov compared to other characters to actually mount a pressure with his throws, to cash out through his throws. So that's something that you need to be good with. Other than that, Dragunov doesn't really give you a lot of reasons to duck, right? If you don't have to duck because of the throws, I don't think there are many other good reasons he has to force you to duck. And in that case, if you just know the holes in Dragunov's pressure and you have the patience to just let him mount his pressure and not panic press exactly what Dragunov wants, then you can easily take that pressure and completely negate his entire game plan. So I think it's just that the character and the game is too new for people to actually build up the character knowledge to counter him. It's a very temporary thing. I think people hate him because temporarily they don't understand how to deal with him. But over time they will easily be able to counter him, and in my opinion he will settle somewhere like in around top 10, top 15 to top 10-ish range. I don't think he's even going to be top 5 or anything like that, but the way people make it sound right now, he's almost like at the very top. The way people talk about him, the way people think how much of a pressure monster he is, I think it's all just because the character is too new and people just don't know how to counter him for now.
Cancel into Sneak 4 and people are really annoyed. People are annoyed at while running too. So I'm just gonna tell you quickly that if you're playing against Dragunov and you're about at this
Just step.
distance away from him, he's going to try and do his classic approach on you, and it's
He's
basically
going to do
be
running
while
too,
running
and
too.
all you have to do is
99%
step.
of
Just take a
Dragunovs when
single
we're
step
standing
to
here,
the
we're like,
side.
oh, while running too! And if you anticipate he's going to do this, you can sidewalk left.
Yep.
It pretty much always beats while running too. You can even just If you time it properly, you could do a tiny sidestep like this.
Oh yeah, no.
And it will beat while running too.
If you time it with Dragunov, like pressing his 2, you can literally just tap the up or down button and it will completely negate the entire move. In fact, you will get a solid whiff punish on Dragunov if you're ready for it. Or just sidewalk, which will almost guaranteed destroy this move. But people don't sidewalk or sidestep in lower ranks. So this is a problem for you if you're just linearly playing against Dragunov. If you're just playing in a 2D plane, then obviously it's a problem. But this is a 3D game. As long as you take advantage of the what would this be, the Z-axis, I think. That's the best way to counter Dragunov, in my opinion. Just learn to step. If you just learn to step his options, you negate a lot of his options and a lot of Dragunov's game plan. But obviously, you have to be very careful when you step, because if you try to step while you're really negative, Dragunov has those big frames on you, then you might get counter hit out of it or hit out of it. So just make sure when you step, you know exactly what the holes are where you need to step. That's why I'm saying like half an hour to an hour in lab with this character, and you'll completely negate his entire game plan. Okay. Let's continue.
But, you know, be safe. Do a sidewalk left. And then if he's close...
And if you are a Dragunov player, this is why it's so important to do the instant while running too. Not because instant while running too can't be stepped or walked, but because it's much harder to do it that way. If you run at the opponent from a mile away, it's much easier to step than doing the instant while running. And in Taken 8, doing the instant version is much easier. You don't need the blue spark. You do not need the blue sparks in Taken 8. The blue sparks or the just frame version was needed in Taken 7, because if you try to do the while running move while you are facing the opponent, while you are as close as these two are right now, it just wouldn't come out. Okay.
Close to you, and he's mindlessly bombarding you with sneak into sneak 4, which seems to be, again, 99% of Dragunov players. You can even eat, not even on block. You can eat a while stunning 1. You can eat back for 2 into sneak, and you still have time to step him right.
Yeah, exactly.
Even on hit,
stepping just negates his game plan.
You don't have to respect this.
But you have to be careful with frames, because there is a limit up until when you can actually step in either direction, right? You have to make sure that the best time to step is when you're -4 and below. If you know that's the case, and Dragunov's most of Dragunov's moves is plus frame moves, leave him at +6, leave you at -6. So that's not the best time to step, because if Dragunov goes for a check, he'll probably catch you. But other than that, just practice against him his moves. Just patiently let him go on his game plan. Find the hole where he makes a mistake, where you have the opening. Go for a simple check or go for a sidestep. Make him whiff and punish him for it. So his game plan isn't like as oppressive as it seems. There are holes in there, but that's true for every character, right? If it was that easy to counter, characters just find their hole and abuse it. If it was that easy, then we wouldn't have these we wouldn't have tiers, would we? Because different characters have, it's difficult to enforce the kind of anti game plan that I'm talking about. But if you really find that the character is so prevalent in the ranked scene that you hate seeing him in there, maybe just spend half an hour in the lab with him, and you should be good with it. And on top of that, now there are so many tools built into Tekken 8. If Dragunov becomes oppressive, just go to the instant replay and play through the scenario. Figure out how to counter Dragunov just through those tools that Tekken has already provided. It's so easy to find the counters instead of hating a character. Like Hwoarang, in my opinion, is much more annoying than Dragunov can ever be. But once you learn how to counter him, once you learn what his game plan is, it becomes so easy to counter Hwoarang as well. Not depends on the player that you're going up against, but for the most part, the typical chart flowy flowcharty harangues that you see online, it gets pretty easy to counter those at least.
You don't have to. You can just, in between where you can step right and then you launch him. So you can't let Dragunov players mindlessly get away with stuff like that. Of course, they can mix you up here if he thinks you're going to step. It seems like a lot of Dragunovs are resorting to Korsoko forward 2 from sneak, right? And now this is a mid-launcher that tracks decently to both sides.
That's not the best option. I would say don't mindlessly go for the 2 option if the opponent is stepping. What I like to do when they start to step or when they start to check is just cancel sneak and just see what the opponent does. If they're respecting you too much, if they're blocking after stepping or if they're blocking after checking or anything like that, then that's mental frame advantage for you. Then that means you can continue your offense, just modify your aggression a little bit and go in again. But if they are pressing buttons, if they are leaving themselves punishable, or if they're opening themselves up for a duck or a parry or anything like that, so the best option to do, I would say, is to just go for just to cancel out of it and see what the opponent does and then counter accordingly. Just mindlessly going for the 2 option whenever the step is not the correct option, honestly.
So you will get hit.
Because it's -14, mainly because it's very punishable.
But Dragunov still pays the price in that if he opts for that option, he's -14,
yep.
right? So there's a mind game here. But so if you're really infuriated with Dragunov, try to apply those side steps. I'm just going to tell you straight away that a lot of you, you play 2D fighter against Dragunov. You're playing Street Fighter. You're just holding back and like, oh god, I'm blocking. My god, the pressure! The pressure! Ah!
Dragunov won't let you press buttons. If you never step against him, if you let him enforce his game plan and you show him that you're going to play a very linear game, he's going to eat you alive. That's not how you play Tekken. This isn't a Dragunov specific thing. If you're playing Tekken, you have to learn to step, and you have to learn to step properly. You don't just mindlessly step and down forward to try to launch everyone. You have to properly step, see the whiff, and then punish accordingly. So that's a skill for this game that everyone has to develop, and that is the kind of skill that's rewarded in this game. So I don't think that's such a big demand to make just to counter this character, because this skill, this sidestepping skill, will translate to the entire cast. You will advantage it not just against Dragunov but everyone else.
Like, if you don't sidestep Dragunov, the character's overpowered. He's legit OP. OP.
I mean, I don't know about OP.
If you don't sidestep. You have to sidestep this stuff. If you don't, yeah, he has the best frames in the game. You're supposed to step
He's
this
extremely
guy. So
oppressive
again, far
if you
away,
don't step
left. Close, step right. Do remember these things, because that's also a built-in weakness. He doesn't have the best homing. Often he relies on this low.
He has really bad homing.
Tracked down, or to track your spacing, right? So please keep that in mind. And practicing from
the one good homing, the one fast homing he has is a high. So just sidestep duck, right? If Dragunov starts throwing his homing move, he probably won't do the down for 3+4 or the 4-4-3. He's not going to go for those options because they are so slow. He's probably going to go for back 4, which is back 3, which is much faster. I think it comes out in 15 frames, but it's a high. So he doesn't have a good fast mid homing option or even a tracking option. So stepping against him is really good.
throw breaks is important because he has a strong throw game.
Yes.
But so in terms of playing Dragunov,
so
do practice
this
your while
guide
running
seems
too.
very front-loaded. So when
Like,
he starts playing ranked
Sneak 4
matches, I
is
think
really
that's
good,
where I'm going
and
to
it's
cut
a
this
heat
off.
engager.
It's already been
But
what,
this is your,
24
main
minutes.
pressure tool. It does gigantic damage.
Oh yeah.
Gigantic
On
damage
counter
on
it, it does
counter hit.
massive
and
damage.
it doesn't use heat. We can save our heat resource and then go for the crucial heat burst whenever we want to.
I mean, depends on the situation, but I always prefer to not go with the heat burst. Instead, just find a 1-to-1 or a back 4-3 to go into heat with. Those, if you can find those openings, I think it's much more advantageous. Just based on how the heat system works. Heat burst uh, is a very like a is a very low reward option, a low risk, low reward option. But if you get the free, if you go into the heat, I don't know what the moves are called, which send you into heat, like 1-to-1 or the back 4-3. That enforces Dragunov's pressure-based game plan even further, right? Because they give you massive frame advantage, and you get to now enforce your frame advantage even more. Plus, now you are doing chip with every single hit, so it just complements Dragunov a lot more. Just standing there and pressing the heat burst button just isn't as good as finding an opening where you can engage with the heat system itself.
And the heat stuff is strong.
Heat system for Dragunov is okay. I wouldn't call it strong. Other characters have much more fleshed out heat systems. All he gets is an unbreakable tackle. It's an unbreakable tackle, not an uninterruptible tackle. But that's all it is. Like it's not a bad option. I'm not saying it's a bad option by any means, especially to close out rounds. It's a really good option, but it's not anything like Brian gets. It's not anything like even Kazuya gets or any other Mishimas get. It's a fine option.
So yeah, pressure with while running 2, get them close to the wall. And we love the wall because we struggle a little bit with reach on our throws and
sure.
Blizzard Hammer. And we really like these options, right? And when we have them at the wall, we have great wall travel. When I have you at the wall, you can't backdash these options. You're just pinned down. I can effortlessly mix everything. Because you want to stress your opponent's defenses. If you're not using his throws, you're doing...
Right, so movement counters Dragunov pretty heavily, but when you can't backdash, then it negates a lot of options, a lot of defensive options that you have. So that's why the opponent's back being to the wall is a really good place for Dragunov to be in, right? He has options opened up to him that weren't there before, weren't there in neutral game, simply because the opponent can't backdash for exact reason that MainMan has just explained.
Doing it wrong. This shit, a 1 break, a 2 break, a 1+2 break, it stresses the shit out of your opponent.
And if you're playing Dragunov, you really need to start using these throws. These throws are like central to him. If you want to climb through the ranks, you can't just rely on down 2 and running 2 or his new tools. You have to go for throw, because throws at least in lower ranks or even up to intermediate ranks are completely free damage. So you cash out on that free damage, use the throws, mix those throws up. Don't always go for the 1+2 throw, even though it's a really good throw and has its own setups, very small, cheap setups that can be easily figured out. But it's 1+2 throw. If the opponent doesn't know, then it's a really, really good throw. But otherwise, just try to mix up different options and make sure that the opponent always eats these throws. So constantly be pressuring the opponent with big frames and then cashing them out through throws. His down back 3+4 is fine, but it's launch punishable option, so his lows aren't as good as his throw options are. And if they start to duck throws, that's where you win, right? That's where you get to actually enforce your game plan, where you get to use your big mids that Dragunov has.
After a while, even the people who have strong throw breaks, they get so stressed by that pressure that they start ducking, and then you benefit. You benefit greatly.
Exactly, yeah.
So please don't forget about that. And also, the mental stack you have with Dragunov, outside of pressuring like this, which you will do, it's very strong. Outside of that, you have such a strong mental stack that a lot of Dragunovs don't utilize. With mental stack, I mean, you have a very varied move set, toolkit. extremely varied toolkit.
He has tools for all occasions. That's for sure. Like we just saw his orbital. He has delayable moves that have effects on counter hit. Also definitely something that I don't see a lot of low-level Dragunovs use. Those are a really good option, at least to constantly have mental frame advantage over your opponent. Right, down back 2-1-2 is a good one. Back 3-2-1 is a really good one. There are 1-3-2 is a really good one. There are a lot of options that you have constantly, the strings you have constantly to constantly keep mental frame advantage over the opponent, constantly keep them guessing whether you're going to finish a string, whether you're going to continue, whether you're going to stop a string midway, or are you going to switch up your strategy, what exactly you're going for. Completely keep that varied between your big plus frame moves, between your pressure, between your strings and your throw games. And if you enforce all of these different options while utilizing the framework that Tekken itself gives you, that's the only real way to climb with Dragunov. I don't think you can pick a pressure strategy, just a single-minded pressure strategy, and go with that and climb to the ranks. That no one game plan is going to take Dragunov to the highest ranks. That's not going to happen.
With so many different options you can throw your opponent's way. A lot of quite powerful strings, but I think you should utilize. And just test them. Well, has he seen this string? Does he know how this string works? If he doesn't, he gets blown up for free.
All of these strings have their own mental games attached to them. They just explore them in the practice mode, or maybe I will definitely eventually get around to making a proper guide on Dragunov. I plan to do this, but the thing that I have in mind is just a complete guide from 0 to 100. So it's going to take a long time, but just take this character to the practice mode, see what his strings do, see what the different effects are for his moves on counter hit, and a lot of them have multiple different options that you can do, and you can enforce a lot of mental mix-ups, mental frame advantage just through his strings. His strings are really good, very seldom talked about, but they are really good.
So do remember that. And you have incredible combos. Anytime you can get someone to the wall without using your
Best combos in the game.
bound, it's a huge win for you. Because then you'll apply the best wall combo in the game. Wall throw into full wall combo.
Just his combos in general.
OP.
I think the Tekken 8 roots that we've gotten in this game for Dragunov,
So again,
they're absolutely
don't
amazing.
bound unless you
There
really
are so
have to.
many different routes that you can take, and all
look
of
at
them
this shit.
are
No
really
counter hit.
really fun
That's
to look
Kazuya
at, as
perfect
well as
electric
extremely
damage.
damaging.
No counter hit
That's-
even. So if you
Yeah,
don't
not
have
even
to, don't use the bound,
counter hit
put
options.
them on the wall, because your character is some of the best wall carry. With sneak cancels, right? Some of the best wall carry.
This is another thing that I've been meaning to make, is a complete combo guide, because all the combo videos that I've released, all of them are like very straightforward. This is a combo, no wall, no heat, no rage or anything like that. But you have to be very smart with Dragunov's combos, and there are very predefined, very clear options how to modify his combos to make sure that you get to the wall properly, make sure that you get the best damage at the wall properly. So I'm really thinking about creating a full thorough combo guide where I will go over all of these options, but all of these things are in pipeline. I haven't had the time to do all of this, but definitely look forward to this guide. I am very interested in making that would probably come out before a full guide comes out, so hopefully when I get the chance, I'm definitely going to work on that.
And also make sure it hurts any launch you get. Like, if you feel, oh, I can't utilize a wall, you still have crazy damage, absolutely crazy damage. Let's see, player direction. Switch posizione.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The main man has
This,
Dragunov
okay, it's a
combos.
little bit tricky, but in my opinion, practice this combo.
It's, you just
Oh,
need
and
to
a
get
lot of
used
you
to the timing. The
underestimate this
pressure
attack.
isn't even that.
That's your electric.
Oh, the
That's your
electric is
electric.
really good.
It's a high, but fast, and has a ton of reach. Recovers quickly on whiff. Quickly. -3 on block. Launches, right?
Yep.
On normal hit.
Really good, really good.
If this is
option.
blocked,
Really
you're
good
free to
attack.
do whatever you want. And remember that Dragunov has superior movement.
So just step
If you
up,
do
right?
this,
Yeah.
this -3 into a sidestep, you beat pretty much everything they do outside of homing. Very often you set this up like this. Step down for 2 to
Yeah.
launch their retaliation.
Watch them whiff
You
and
have
then
very
down for
strong
2, obviously.
movement with Dragunov.
The reason I say that is because when you, even if you've stepped properly, whenever you throw out an attack, you expand your hitbox. So if the opponent is in the middle of their attack and you're trying to whiff punish them, they will actually catch you in a counter hit. So just make sure when you step, you watch them whiff properly and you're outside of their, or their hitbox has left the screen. They're done with their attack, and that's when you whiff punish. So just be careful. I'm pretty sure that you already know how to properly sidestep and whiff punish, but that's just something I wanted to mention in case new people are watching this.
Now, I would just like to show you the best staple at
It's
least
such a
once here.
beautiful combo, in my opinion.
Can I still land it?
It keeps getting interrupted.
No.
I think you need a deeper dash here.
I'm still practicing this, by the way.
That was a deep enough. That wasn't a deep enough dash.
Oh, you can dash in here and get sneak 4.
You can.
It's
I think
insanely
you just
strong.
need a little deeper dash, maybe. You should be able to get that.
Okay. I
You
had this
should
connect
be
like
able to
very
get that.
reliably yesterday. Oh my fucking god! Thanks! Thanks, Tekken 8!
Yeah. No.
I don't know what this is. Maybe it's because I hit the record button
Yeah.
and I'm like,
Yeah.
let's give those good folks on YouTube some content. And then I can't do a staple combo. Watch me do this.
This is a
first
very
attempt when I
consistent
play my
combo
matches.
usually. There you go.
That!
There you go.
You have to learn to staple that because it's almost half-life.
And you can.
And again,
very
it's
easily.
without
This
counter hit.
This is
It's without
much
counter.
much easier than it looks.
Oh, and if you step anyone, which you can do quite easily with this guy, considering you have super strong movement, 1-3-2 is guaranteed at the back.
Oh yeah.
And here you're gonna, if I do this today, you're gonna see me do some crazy stuff. I can literally kill someone if they make a mistake in the Oki situation there. I can straight up kill them. But so I hope this serves as a quick introduction to Dragunov. And when
There
you
you go.
50-50,
That's the Dragunov
down
guy.
2 is your go-to
Okay.
option. Down 2 into the full crouch down for 1-4, right?
Yes.
You've already seen this a million times. It's very strong. So down 2 while standing 1. Down 2, full crouch down for 1-4. Very strong. Italia. Okay. But I hope that serves as a little bit of an introduction to Dragunov. I'm sorry I dropped the combo 90 million times, but shit
So this is where the guide ends, is what I'm guessing. So I think I'm going to leave it off here. Thank you so much for watching. It's been like 40 minutes by now. So if you did watch up until the end, if you have any feedback, any comments, anything, any ideas for any future videos, do let me know. And thank you once again for watching. I will see you in the next video.